Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
This is a city, one of the biggest in the United States. Spreads out in all four directions like a broad loom rug. To the south and west is the downtown district. To the east, the industrial area. Reading, PA, pretty much like your town. This is one of the city's founders. A lot's changed since then. It's got high tension lines bringing in the power. Public parks and lakes. It's got a police department and a city hall. This is where I work. I'm a cop.
It was Thursday, May 16th. We were working the midday watch out of Juvenile Division. My partner is Ian Smith. The boss is Commissioner Gordon. My name is Friday. We'd gotten a call from a distressed mother who reported her 4-year-old girls missing. Hours had passed since the first initial report. The children had failed to turn up. We had to find them.
I told you all that on the phone. Have you found them yet?
We've checked out the names that you gave us, Mrs. Carson. Everyone who knows your little girls, the kids they play with, the shopkeepers, the people that live down the street. We haven't any word yet, but we're still checking.
Oh no. Someone's got to have seen them. Susie and Sally are only 4 years old. They couldn't have wandered off too far.
It's not as bad as you think, Mrs. Carson. Children have been missing longer than you two have, and they turned up just fine.
Try to relax if you can, Mrs. Carson.
But why hasn't somebody seen them? They only wandered off from us in the park. Why, that's only 3 blocks from the house. Why hasn't somebody seen them? Oh, it's dark out. God knows what could happen to them at night.
Is there anything we can get for you, Mrs. Carson?
No, I'll be all right. Have you seen my husband?
Yes, ma'am, we did. He's over at the park with the other officers.
I don't think there's anything to be worried about, ma'am. We've got 3 teams of officers working on it right now.
Did you talk to the Parkers down the street? And the Bristols?
Yes, we did, ma'am. We checked out all the names you gave us. But there's just one thing we want to ask you, ma'am.
What's that, Sergeant?
About the exact spot in the park where your girls wandered off this afternoon.
It's just like I told the other officer. It was by the maple tree in the 7th Avenue Park. I was reading a book and my husband was taking a nap and they were just playing hide and go seek. But when I looked up, they were gone. It was about 2:30 this afternoon.
You're sure about that location?
Well, of course I'm sure. Why would I lie to you? I want you to find my children. They're just babies. You can see the picture over there.
Yes, ma'am. We're doing everything we can.
I know. I know.
Hi, Sean. Anything?
No, nothing.
You want to step outside?
Yeah, sure. Excuse me.
Well, Rich and I talked to a local vendor who works the area where the children were last seen.
Yeah, did he tell you anything?
Yeah, he said he saw the children playing in the park by some trees. They were with a man. Then the man put them in his car and drove away.
7 p.m. Together with Officer Sean, Ian and I left the Carsons' home. We decided not to tell the mother about the latest report until it was absolutely confirmed. We felt that telling her would cause her needless worry. We drove over to the park to talk with the vendor, a Mr. Matthias Almond. He pointed out the area where he'd seen the children in the company of an unidentified man.
You think you can describe the man for us?
Sting guy, mustache, dark hair, had some kids with him walking from that clump of trees over there.
You want to go rope off the area and see if you can find anything, Sean?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Did you get a good look at the man? Any distinctive traits?
Like I said before, the black hair, mustache, figured he was the kid's parents, and he was driving a red van.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah?
Found us by those trees over there.
The dress was taken down to crime lab for further analysis. Then it was shown to the father of the missing girls. He definitely identified it as his girl's dress. The search for the missing girls was intensified. A detailed look was made into the records of all local sex offenders. From the many names, one came up that might tie in. He was listed as Michael Martin Gramberg. His address was close to that of the park where the girls had disappeared. Gramberg was described as thin, dark hair, and a mustache. We found him at his restaurant where he had played the organ.
Yes, that is right. I do live on 7th Avenue Crossing Park. What's the matter this time, officers?
Missing juveniles, can you please tell me what you're doing this morning?
I don't know if I can do that or not. I never kept the day locked though. Was I supposed to do that?
Just tell us what you were doing today between noon and 6, Gramberg. That's all we want to know.
Supposedly I was playing checkers with Mickey Mouse. Would that suit you?
You listen here, mister. We're not in the mood for smart answers. All I want to know is where you were this morning. That's all.
I don't know why you always have to bother me when something always happens.
You mean your own reputation, not us. What about it?
At 11:30 a.m., I went out to City Hall and I voted, okay? Then I went to eat lunch with my friends. And after that, I went to see the best movie in town. Alright?
Can your friends vouch for your story?
No, they can't vouch for me. They took the 8:15 train out of town this morning.
How about it, Gramberg? Is anybody going to vouch for your story?
I already tweeted. They took the train out of town this evening. You can go and check the movie theater if you want. They have the time and the stamp.
You want to call and check that stuff out, Frank?
Yeah.
I do not want to be rude, Sergeant, but this registration business is kind of unfair.
Is that so?
Yes, really unfair.
Well, how do you suggest we keep track of you?
Well, why would I have to be checked on anyway?
You know as well as I do. Your record.
Oh, it's all lying. I've already hit the kid. I pay my time. Why can't you cut me a break? Every time I say I'm to the kid, I get a cop on my back.
Were you in the 7th Avenue Park anytime this afternoon, Gramberg?
What?
I said, were you in the 7th Avenue Park anytime today?
As a matter of fact, I was. I took a walk there this afternoon.
Well, about what time was it?
I let my friends freshen up before the movies.
When'd you leave?
About 2:15.
You went from the park to the movies to meet your friends, did you?
That's right, yes.
Did you happen to see 2 small children alone in the park?
I didn't see anyone. I was by myself.
You sure of that, are you?
Of course I am. Even if I did see them, I wouldn't do anything. I don't abuse kids. I just don't get along with them.
No one says you have.
I know that. I would never hurt any kids.
Can I speak with you over here for a minute?
Sure.
Went over to the movie theaters and checked out what he said. He was there from 2:30 to 5, and now let's go.
p.m. The 4-year-old girls were still missing. Another division of homicide was added, and the residents of the area were all questioned. No answers. We stopped to call the police department.
Yeah, this is Friday. Any word? You did, huh? What time? Oh, okay. Well, Smith and I will be back to the station in just a minute.
A motorist had found the 2 girls on a deserted road and picked them up and brought them to the station. A partial cancellation was made on the APB for the girls. They were admitted to a local hospital for minor injuries and returned home. The doctor had reported that both girls had been molested. The next day, Ian and I drove out to speak with the mother again. We had very little luck at all.
It was the same thing this morning when I tried to question them. They just don't want to talk about it. It must have been so hard for them.
Did they tell you anything at all, Mrs. Carson?
Well, Susie just refuses to talk about it. All I could get out of her was that the man was thin. Sally's always been a little bit more open.
I see. Could she add anything else that the other little girl said about the man?
Well, she seemed to be trying to tell me that the man had some kind of facial hair. It was probably a mustache, because her grandfather has a mustache, and that probably stuck out in her mind. She was probably telling the truth, because I can usually tell when she's making things up.
Mm-hmm. And how about the way the man was dressed, his clothes?
No, nothing specific. Except Susie did say he was wearing messy clothes, but she could have meant his work clothes. But who knows what she meant. She's only 4 years old.
How'd the man get the kids into the truck? Did he offer them candy or something?
Sally said something about them offering them puppies. I've told them a dozen times not to talk to strangers and not to take anything they offer from them.
Yes, ma'am. Did they tell you anything else about the man's description?
No. I've talked to them for over an hour and they just keep saying the same story. The man hurt them, tore their dresses, and made them cry.
Yes, ma'am. Did they tell you anything about the truck at all?
Sally said something about it being a big red car, but you can't put much faith in that.
Why not, ma'am?
It's just a phase she's going through. Last week everything was blue to her. This week her favorite color's red. Everything's red.
Yes, ma'am. Do you think they'd be able to tell you anything else about the man? Maybe in a few days after they've cooled down?
Well, I wouldn't count on it. Just that they're home now and they're safe. That's all that matters. It's all over now.
No, ma'am. I'm afraid there's more to it than that.
What?
The man that did it's still out there.